Breaking tonight, we have had a series of reports about a major series of new attacks on Hamas targets inside Gaza. And those come after accusations this weekend that America's top diplomat, John Kerry, is doing serious damage to our relationship with Israel in the Middle East. The Secretary of State delivered a new ceasefire plan to Israel and Hamas, and the reaction was pretty clear. A headline in the left-leaning Israeli paper Haaretz reading, quote, "What was he thinking?" They called it one of Kerry's most embarrassing incidents since taking office, adding that Secretary Kerry seemed and sounded as if he came from a, quote, parallel universe. They added that his proposal not only shocked cabinet ministers, but that it was, quote, everything Hamas, which we recognize as a terrorist group, could have hoped for, and even suggested that his conduct is now raising serious doubts over his judgment and perception of regional events in general. Joining me now, Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters, who's a Fox News strategic analyst. Ralph, I want to get to Israel in 1 second, but first I have to ask you about this breaking news with Russia and this letter that our president has penned to Vladimir Putin tonight, months after we said they did it initially and months after Republicans had been pressing him to do more. Why now? Well,
the real question is why not before? And the answer is that in the past, it was to Obama's advantage to cover it up and pretend that things are going swimmingly with Russia. But now Obama is desperately reaching for ways he can appear tough on Russia without actually doing anything. So by breaking this news that Russia violated the 1987 treaty, it sends a message to Putin, he hopes, that we're serious now, we're not going to let you slide on this, but he still hasn't done anything. So you can send all the letters to Vladimir Putin you want. Without concrete action, it's meaningless.
All right, let's turn to Israel and this scathing piece in Haaretz talking about how this is one of the most embarrassing incidents Secretary has suffered. He said the document that he proposed, they said the document Secretary Kerry proposed, placed Israel and Hamas on the same level, as if the first is not a primary U.S. ally, and as if the second isn't a terror group, which overtook part of the Palestinian Authority and so on. Your thoughts?
Well, I think you have to separate Obama and Kerry. Secretary Kerry is certainly not trying to sabotage our relationship with Israel. But for Kerry, it's about Kerry. He desperately wants to achieve personal glory. Now, I do think that President Obama, on some deep level, sees Israel as imperialists, the bad guys, and Hamas and Hezbollah as freedom fighters. I really do think. I think, from his mom...
Because even the Haaretz piece said Secretary Kerry is not anti-Israel. On the contrary, he's a true friend to Israel.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that's pro forma. But I don't think Kerry is as hostile as Obama is. I think Obama, because of his background with Ayers and Reverend Wright, just doesn't like Israel. But the real problem we have is on a practical level. And it's a Secretary Kerry just doesn't seem to have this sort of supple, dynamic, incisive intelligence you have to have to play in the Middle East. And when he gets in a room, as he recently did, with the foreign ministers of Qatar and Turkey and other regional states, he's just not the smartest guy in the room. And so the notion that he could pass off the deal, the ceasefire deal he was trying to foist on Israel, I mean, no grown-up would think that Israel could buy into that. And Megan, this has been an administration whose foreign policy has been all bumper stickers. And we've heard, in every conflict, we hear the same things. The military force can't solve this. Negotiations. War doesn't solve anything. Well, for Israel right now, dealing with these tunnels, dealing with these rockets, the only solution that I or any sensible person can see is for Israel to press this all the way, destroy the tunnels, destroy the rockets, and destroy Hamas.
We've heard more and more of this. I want the viewers to understand this. A lot of folks are saying Israel shouldn't agree to a ceasefire. Israel should focus on winning. Is that where you stand?
Oh, absolutely, because Israel is 100% in the right. Hamas is a terrorist organization. And this reflexive insistence from Obama and Kerry that there's always got to be a ceasefire. They want a ceasefire in Ukraine, which would play into Putin's hands. It would freeze things on the ground as they are just when the Ukrainians are making progress. In the Middle East, the ceasefire Kerry proposed would have given Hamas every single point they asked for while preventing Israel from even blowing up those terror tunnels. It was absolutely nuts. But I think, look, I don't think Kerry is malevolent. I don't think he's evil. I think he's too small a man for the job. He just can't deal with the complexity of the Middle East. And by the way, our State Department still thinks it's 1963 in the Middle East. They don't understand that the entire region is in turmoil. The old order is breaking down. The borders are gone. Iraq's not going to come back. And oh, by the way, on the subject of Iran and Israel and Gaza, an Iranian general just said that, as far as he's concerned, Muslims are going to get to Israel and go house to house, killing every Jew. Now, with that kind of attitude toward Israel, while Israel just wants to live in peace with its neighbors, how on earth can Kerry think, or can Obama think, as he apparently does, that there's some kind of moral parity between Hamas and Israel? Yeah. Israel's fighting for its life. Hamas is killing its own people for photo ops.
Ralph, good to see you.
Thank you, Megan.
We're joined now by